So Kim, I will go ahead and turn this over to you now. We're excited to learn about kind of your 21-day kickstart to kind of being successful at home and being productive.
Thank you.
So
Well, welcome, everyone. I've not done a Zoom tutorial online seminar before, so bear with me while I get my bearings here a little bit. So welcome to 21 Days to Success. Right up front, I'm just going to tell you that I have a 21-day program. It's free, but it's for people while you're, kind of working from home and your routines are changing up, and maybe you want to incorporate some new things. Maybe you have some goals that you haven't thought about in a while and you want to kind of dust them off, bring them back, and get started on them. Anyway, it's a 21-day program. You just get an email every morning, and it has a challenge for you, has some action steps, and kind of makes you think about some things that you might not have thought about in a while. And could teach you something you didn't know, or it could just be reminding you of things that maybe you're not doing now that you would like to incorporate into your routine, your daily routine. So what I'm going to ask you to do, also I will send you the presentation. So if you would like that, please send me your email address in the chat box, and I will make sure that you get a copy of this presentation and also the 21 Days to Success in your inbox. And you can opt out at any point, so you're not stuck. If you start getting them and it's not something that you want, then you can just opt out at the bottom of the email. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, again, welcome. I hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. We're going to cover these topics today. Your vision, your goals, your habits that you might be incorporating, how to be more productive, how to start a routine that will help you get through these challenging times at home, and then just some success habits that people have who are very successful. And we'll go through some of those. So right now, we're kind of in a time of disruption. Of course, we're out of our normal routine. We're not going to work. Some of us might be. Some of you might actually be in your offices at your desks because you're still going into work, which is fine. But a lot of us are kind of trying to figure out what to do at home to stay productive, especially when we have kids and other responsibilities. We might not be used to working from home, and if there are dishes in the sink, all of a sudden it's kind of like, ooh, maybe I'll go wash the dishes and then I'll sit down to my desk and get started. We have all kinds of distractions, so it's a little difficult. But when we first started out week one, and found out about this new quarantine thing, we kind of went out and we overstocked. We got tons of food and paper towels and toilet paper and everything we were going to need. It was kind of almost like preparing for a hurricane. You weren't really sure what you were going to need, so you just kind of got everything. And, just kind of thought, well, this is what we have to do. And then when week two rolled around, it was kind of like, well, I'm trying to get some things done here. I'm not really sure. You're kind of working through how you're going to get everything to work and stay on top of everything and handle having more responsibilities. Like, you might even be teaching your children at home now online, or whatever might be happening, or having to keep them entertained while you're trying to get your work done. Lots of balancing things. So you're kind of thinking, I kind of got this under control, but I'm still working out a few details. And then week three rolled around, and it was kind of like, oh, when are we going to get out of this? I'm kind of ready to get back to work. Go back to my office, get out of the house, go do some things. And then week four, here we are. It's just, I feel like we're almost, some of us might be starting over. I talk to people all the time, and, they're telling me, oh, I'm sleeping until 10 because I don't have to get up and go to the office. I'm completely out of my routine, but I'm getting a lot of things done in my home. So maybe there is a positive spin on that, but you might not be as productive in all areas, like you were 4 weeks ago. So that's what we're going to help you do, get some more clarity and focus. This is why this happens. We're not really clear. And it's hard when you're just disrupted like that. All of a sudden, what are you supposed to focus on? It's really hard to stay on track with what you were doing before this all happened. And it's been such, a kind of a strange ride that we may not even remember what we were focused on 4 weeks ago, because now our goals and our routines and everything have changed so much in just this short period of time. So, when you think back on the last 4 weeks, what have you learned? Is there anything you've learned about yourself? Have you started partaking in some vices that may not be so great? Maybe you're drinking more, or you're sleeping late, or maybe you had something that you were starting, like an exercise routine or something like that that you started 4 weeks ago. I know that with me, I just started a new gym membership, and of course it closed. It's not open. But I'm also in Pure Barre, but they go online and have Facebook Live workouts every morning. So I can at least do that. I don't really know what I'm going to do with the gym right now, but at least I do have the Pure Barre in the morning, and I'm trying to be focused on that. And I'm still getting up early, but it is a little tougher. You don't have anywhere to go. You don't have to get dressed for anything. But staying in that routine so that when we come out of this, it's not coming, we're not feeling like we're coming off a 3-month vacation and trying to get back to work and get back in the groove. We need to stay focused and stay in some sort of routine so that we're still in the groove, and, we're keeping going instead of trying to jumpstart ourselves. So one of the things that might happen during this time is we kind of forget our focus, we forget our vision. What was your vision before this, and what is your vision now? And it might have changed. You might have realized that some things that might have seemed important 4 weeks ago may not be as important now. Or maybe you're going through a little financial struggle now, and you're thinking, oh, I didn't save like I said I was going to at the beginning of the year. Or maybe there's some expenses that I really could cut out and do without. One of the things my husband and I did is we looked over our cable and internet, mainly because the internet connection I was using for work, now that everybody's home, I had broadband, I didn't have cable. So when everybody was in their homes working all day, it was taking internet power from me, I guess, in layman's terms. And so we looked and decided to go get a cable modem, and we cut our cable and internet bill down $50 a month, which was really nice. So we're looking at things like that too. How can we change our lives for the better to keep with our vision in these hard times, because we don't have everything that we had 4 weeks ago. We don't have the luxury of going to the gym and working out and some of the other things that we had. Some of us don't have toilet paper, I guess. We're fortunate there, but I've heard some stories going around. So when we look at our big picture, keep these things in mind. What is your big picture? Is it the same? Has it changed? What are your values now? Your values might have changed a little bit in all of this. Maybe your family's become more important. Your friends have become more important. Some things that you might have kind of let slip, maybe some relationships that you weren't really focused on, and you kind of let them slip because, you had all these other things going on. Maybe now's the time to look at some people that you haven't reached out to in a while, and pick up the phone or have a Zoom conversation or send them a card even. But think of the things that maybe have changed in the last couple of weeks that are more important to you now. Maybe your life will look a little bit different when this all gets over with. And of course, as usual, we always have to know what our why is, because wine defines lots of things, but our why defines success. Because you know where you're going. If you don't know why you're doing something, and you don't know why you're doing it, then you're not going to be motivated to keep going, and you're not going to accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish. So when you're thinking of your vision, think about why you want these things. And maybe your why has changed in these last few weeks. This has been a very trying time for a lot of people. You might even know some people who have gotten sick or worse. And it really starts making you think about your own health, and about the relationship with those people and how important they are to you. So think about some of the things that you're doing now and why you're doing them. And when you know your why, it's a lot easier to make decisions in your life because you're making a decision towards something. You're not as confused because you have an intentional why you're doing what you're doing. Maybe it's a goal that you set. Then when you have a decision come along, if that decision isn't pushing you towards your goal, then you know what decision you need to make. If you have a decision and maybe it's to go on some big vacation, but you're also trying to save for your child's college fund. What is your decision going to make? Which one of those goals has a bigger why for you? If it's to send your children to college and they're 16 and you want to make sure you have enough money, maybe you're not going to take that $20,000 dream vacation that's being offered to you right now. So knowing your why really helps you make decisions easier. And then it aligns your resources because you know exactly what you need. And you can get all your resources aligned. If you know you need something from somebody, if it's a people resource, if it's a thing that you need, if it's a skill that you need to learn, you know what your resources are and you start going towards your goal because you've aligned your resources. And then, like I said earlier, it keeps you motivated. It keeps you clear so that you can focus because you know why you're doing it. And then it also expands your options because as you work toward a goal and you know why you're doing it or even your vision, opportunities present themselves and expand your options because you'll see them much more clearly. Sometimes if we're not clear and opportunities are presenting themselves, we don't see them as opportunities and we might pass them by. So during this time, we want to make sure we're working on the right things too. I know it's easy to, waste time. Oh my gosh. There was some TV show, I can't even remember what it was now. That's how bad it is. But I binge watched it the first couple of days just because I really wasn't sure. It was a weekend, to be honest. But I really wasn't sure what all this was going to entail. This was back when we still had a lot of stores open and things. I really wasn't sure what I was going to be in for. But so I wasn't preparing anything or doing anything. I was just kind of taking it easy for a day or two. And so I should have been doing some productive things, but I didn't. And I think that it's hard when you get into a situation like this to really stay productive because you know what, you're at home and you're comfortable and you don't think about, I still have to make the sales calls. I still have to do this or that. And then all of a sudden something happens, or maybe because the kids are home and they're watching TV, you hear something interesting and you go watch it or whatever it is. So we still have to, it's hard to just keep our focus so that we're working on the right things because we have so many distractions at home. Like I said earlier, there are dishes in the sink. You want to go wash them instead of sit down at your computer and get things done. So one way to make sure we're working on the right things and not procrastinating too much is to decide what you want, and you do that every morning when you wake up. What do you want your day to look like? What kinds of things do you want to do with your day? What things do you have to do? There's some things that we have to do. We don't really have too much of a choice about, even though I like to say you have a choice about everything. Write it down when you plan your day out to make sure that you're, working on the right things. Set a deadline. So if you're working on a goal and you write it down, make sure you set a deadline on your end goal. That's going back to your vision. What are the goals that you have to accomplish in order to create the vision that you want for your life? Make a list of everything you're going to have to do and then organize your list into a plan and do that. I do it every night because I want to wake up with it finished. Some people do it first thing in the morning because they feel like they're fresh and they can think more clearly and be more focused. So it's up to you, but make sure you're still doing this even though we're at home and we're not necessarily having to get dressed and, do all the normal routine things that we have to do to go to work. We're still being productive. And then make sure that, when you create a goal, take action on it immediately. Do something. I like to call it leaning into it. When you create a goal, anything, one small step towards anything is going to help you move momentum, pick up momentum toward that goal. So if you have, let's say you're working on something and you're stuck, just take one small action. It doesn't have to be big, but what that one small action will do is create momentum so that you can get unstuck and get going and move forward with whatever you're trying to work on, whether it's a sales goal, whether it's, being closer to your family, whatever the goal might be. Just take one small step. And like I said, I call it that leaning into it. That's actually a Jack Canfield term, leaning into it. So just something small that gets momentum going. We all get stuck. And then, create a vision board. This is my vision board for work. I have it at my desk here, and I look at it every day. Just cut out things that mean something to you. When you think about your goals, make a list of your goals and just go through all your magazines. And it's a lot of fun, too. It inspires you. Just make a vision board for yourself. And once you create that vision board, make sure you're looking at it every day and really, really look at it. You'll be surprised using your vision board when you're looking at it on a daily basis. It gets into your subconscious mind, and you don't even have to really be thinking about these things. They just start happening. You just start taking action towards them. And you'll notice as you make progress toward it, when you look at it, one day you're going to go, oh my goodness, I just did that, and you won't even realize it, but it's right there in front of you every day. And then when you do accomplish one of the things on your vision board, make sure that you celebrate that. We have to make sure that we are waking up with intention every morning. And that's when you're making a decision about what you want to do that day. How do you want to act? How do you want to think and feel? And then, what choices are you going to make that day? You have to do all of this with intention. Think about, what is the goal for the day? How do you want to think, feel? What do you want to do? And how do you want your day to look? Visualize your day. That's what I do in the morning. I like to do a visualized meditation, and I visualize how I want my day to go. If I'm visualizing asking someone something, I visualize how they're going to respond. What answer do I want from them? And it really helps me get some clarity around my day. So think about the goals. What goals are you working toward right now? Even though you're at home, sometimes it's tough to stay focused on goals that we had. And we might have had goals before this that we sort of forgot about. Bring them back out. Think about what you were working on before this all came about, and maybe create some new ones. Maybe you're looking at some right now that you're going, wow, you know what? That's not that important to me anymore. I don't have a strong why there. You know what? Take them off your list. Replace it with something that does mean something more to you. So let's say a spiritual goal. Maybe you're going to put time aside in the morning to read the Bible a couple minutes before you start your day, or maybe it's a prayer journal or something like that, or just keeping a journal in general, a gratitude journal. I keep one at night. At night, when I go to bed, I write down 2 things I'm grateful for that day, 2 things that were just really amazing, and then I write down something that I might have struggled with. Maybe I didn't get something done that I'd hoped I'd gotten done. So I'll write that down. What did I struggle with? And then what might be a solution to that struggle? Because at nighttime, when you're thinking about things, you might have a different perspective than when the struggle thing is actually happening. So you can have an idea, maybe a better idea on how to resolve it. And then when you think about your health goals, maybe you have high blood pressure or some sort of a goal with numbers that you want to establish. Maybe you want to keep your cholesterol down between a certain level, or your sugar levels, or whatever it might be. Or maybe you have a weight goal. Maybe you have a strength goal. Maybe you have maybe you run and you want to run a certain number of miles every day, or Monday through Friday. I have a friend who, at the end of last year, it was the beginning of December, and she decided that every single day in the month of December she would run 1 mile. She doesn't have any running goals as far as a race or anything, but that was her goal, and she did it, and she was really, really proud of herself, and she felt a lot stronger at the end. That was her goal, and she got that done. So think about, some goals that you can do now. Maybe it's just right now getting out and walking 10 minutes without your phone, without music, without anything, and just listening to the birds and smelling the flowers. It is spring after all, and this is just sad that it happened during this time of the year when we're all kind of cooped up inside. But get out there. I know a lot of people are out gardening right now, which is great. So make sure you're getting outside. Set some relationship goals. Maybe it's to deliver flowers to your wife once a month, or maybe schedule a date night once a week. Something that you can do together. Something that you can do now that you're in quarantine. Maybe it's a board game night or a candlelit dinner that you both make together. But think of things that you can do right now. Set some goals for that you can have a relationship goal that while you're quarantined, because you can't go on a vacation or anything like that, or an out of town getaway. Maybe it's just something that you sit down at the end of the day and kind of regroup and take your days from work day to nighttime, dinner time, just maybe with a little conversation for 15 minutes, and just show some appreciation to each other. Family, that's, you're all together, so you might as well make the most of that, right? So set some goals there. Maybe it's a board game night. Maybe you all talk about the school day with them, because some of them might be in online school. I'm not really sure how many of you are in that situation, because I know a lot of schools are just canceled. But or maybe you're doing some educational things with them during the day. But establish some sort of routine, maybe a family meeting at the end of the day, or maybe you have movie night once a week, or whatever it is. You can still find things to do together. Maybe the kids make dinner one night, if they know how to cook, or you can take them in the kitchen. Maybe they pick out recipes that you can help them cook. Just think of fun things that you can do during this time to make the time better. And then social. It's hard right now with social distancing, but we can still be social. I have a group of friends that I have a happy hour once a week with, and they all live in different places. And it's funny because we've never done this before. One lives in Colorado, one lives in Florida, one lives in Atlanta, and one lives in Austin, Texas. So we could have been doing this all the time, but this actually brought us closer together in order to do this, this quarantine time. So it's kind of fun, and it's something different. So what can you do with your friends to show them that you still care about them and still reaching out to them during this time? And then your home office environment. That's something you're probably really thinking about since you're in your home all the time now. What can you do to make your home and office environment better to kind of match the vision that you've created for yourself? Is it my husband and I a couple weekend before last, we put up a backsplash in our kitchen, and that had been an ongoing nagging issue for about a year. And I finally just said, you know what? We're here, we're doing it. So I ordered the tiles. Mind you, they were vinyl stick-on tiles, but they look great. So, and if I get tired of it, I can take it off, I guess, and put something else up. But for the time being, we are really excited about it. And we're really proud of ourselves for doing it, because we are not, or I'm not that good at doing things like that. He is, but so that was a celebration there after that. your career. It's a great time to take some online courses or learn some new skills. If you want to learn some computer skills or something like that, get on YouTube. There's so many ways to do that. Udemy is a good one. They have very low cost classes. It's Udemy. That's Udemy. They have classes in everything from they have MBA classes to classes on baking bread. So anything you want to learn, you can do that there. And again, that's Udemy. That's udemy.com. I really like that website. But think about things in your career that you can start doing right now at home that will help you when you get back out on the outside, back in your offices, whatever it is. Maybe it's even just prospecting. Thinking about different channels you haven't reached before. Just get creative. And then fun. What are you going to do for fun? Make some small goals. You can actually still go to the driving range if you're into golf or you're trying to learn golf. Brook Green Gardens is open. You can go there and go through the zoo or look at the beautiful flowers now that it's spring. Look at the sculptures. You can't go inside the museum parts and the inside sculpture parts, but the outdoor sculptures are beautiful. Think of some fun things you can do while we're in this quarantine time. And maybe even fun things would be go to YouTube and learn something new, learn how to bake bread or do something different that would be fun. Maybe dance classes. You can do all kinds of things from your home now. And then financial. What are the things that you're looking at right now that maybe you should have thought of, or maybe it's, thank goodness we have a tax time that's been pushed off till July now. So, but maybe you didn't have all your tax stuff in order before all this started, and maybe that's something that next year you'll make sure that you do earlier. Or when you're thinking about home projects, maybe now that you're in the home, you're going, wow, we need to get a roof estimate, or we need to get this done or that done. Maybe we should start saving for that. Whatever your financial goals might be, start thinking about some of those things now, maybe in a different light since you are at home. And this has not been the best time for anyone financially right now. So once you decide what your goals are, maybe think about 3 right now that would mean something to you. Write them down, decide what your intention is, visualize them, and then, like I said, take action every, daily action. Put them in your planner, and that's back to the lean into it. Even if there may not be some big action you can take that day, any action's better than nothing. So now we get into our habits. Our habits may have changed since we've been home. I said that earlier. I know some people are sleeping till 10 o'clock. Maybe they're not getting dressed first thing in the morning. All kinds of things. Maybe they're not even getting enough sleep. I have friends who are staying up late and watching TV because they don't have to get up in the morning. And then because they're used to getting up in the morning, they can't sleep in. So they're not getting as much sleep as they normally do. Which is very important. So Stephen Covey says, depending on what they are, our habits will either make us or break us. We become what we repeatedly do. So they're very important. A lot of us don't even think about our habits because they're habits. And we don't even think about it because we're doing them, but we don't realize we're doing them. So according to research from Duke University, 40% of the actions we perform every day are not due to decision-making, so they're not even intentional, but they're due to habits, just habits that we have. So we need to make sure that our habits are serving us. We need to make sure that if we have bad habits, we're getting rid of those, thinking about how to get rid of them. Maybe this is a good time to get rid of some of the bad habits now that you're at home. I have friends who smoke, but they only smoke when they're out in bars drinking with their friends. Well, now would be a great time for them to go, you know what, I'm not going to smoke anymore, and really start thinking about that. I know that's a a tough one. I've never smoked, but my father did, and that was the only habit he couldn't break. But think about some habits that may not be serving you, or think about some habits that might have popped up lately. Now that you're at home, now that we're quarantined, there might be some habits that you're going, wow, I didn't used to do that. Maybe you did start smoking now that you're home. Who knows? But I know a lot of people are drinking more. I'm sure you've seen the lady on I believe it was on Facebook. It might have been YouTube. I can't remember. I think it was Facebook. The 93-year-old lady who had the sign that said "Need beer," and she had a Coors Light can in her hand. Anyway, you'll be happy to know that she got 150 cans of Coors Light from Coors Light. They sent them to her, so that was pretty funny. I guess if you want something bad enough, you can get it, even in this quarantine time. But whatever your habits are that might not be serving you, take a good look at those and see what you could put in place to stop, maybe stop doing them, or just cut back. Maybe we're just, if it's alcohol, maybe we're just drinking more. We don't necessarily need to quit. We just need to really be cognizant of how much we're consuming. It can sneak up on you in times like this. So the cycle of frustration is that when we have habits and we have goals and things that we're trying to do to change, we think we need to use our willpower and our motivation, and we fail because we can't stay motivated all the time. And willpower is something that you practice. It's not just something that pops up or pops out of your life. It's not, I'm sure you've heard people go, oh gosh, I just don't have any willpower, as they stick a piece of cake in their mouth or whatever it might be. Everybody has willpower. It's a practiced thing. It's not something you're just born with. So I shouldn't have said that maybe, but everybody can have willpower. That's a better way to put that. You just have to practice it. It's really self-discipline. And, once we start really practicing those things, they start becoming habits, if you will. But the problem is we try to use that for our habits. What we need to do is change our environments to suit what we're trying to do. So if you're trying to watch less, maybe you're trying to watch less TV, maybe you come home, you're home now, but maybe you get on the couch and you start watching television. Everybody seems to be watching the Tiger King, or they're done watching it now, I guess. But, sit on the couch, watch TV. Instead of that, when you sit down on the couch, decide, okay, I'll sit on the couch for 5 minutes and that's it. And that's just to kind of take a breath and maybe regroup and get back up. Or I had a client who went to the extreme one time when I was in DC, and actually put his television in the garage because he did not want to watch TV at night anymore. He just got fed up. It was just taking over his life. So that's an extreme case, but you might just put the TV remote in another room so that it's not so easy to sit down on your couch and just pick up the remote and start watching. So try to do things with your environment that might make whatever you're trying to do easier on yourself. So, in goal setting a goal, and you say, okay, this is the goal, and it's usually a change in behavior that you're going to have to deal with. And then you think, okay, I'm going to get this result if I change this behavior, but it's not realistic. There's a little more to it than that. Like I just said, it's not just about willpower and motivation. Changing a behavior or changing a habit is something that it's very hard. And unfortunately, our subconscious mind doesn't like that. Our subconscious mind will do everything it can for us not to change, because in your subconscious mind's terms, if you will, it feels like it's a fight or flight situation, and it likes to stay comfortable. So if you're trying to change a behavior, especially if it's a behavior that you've had for a long time, your subconscious mind will start doing things that will self-sabotage you. And if you don't realize it, then you let it do it. And the reason it's doing that is because it's trying to keep you safe and comfortable. And so think about that. Next time you have a goal, or you're trying to change a habit, start a new habit, or get rid of an old habit, think about what behaviors you might be doing that you're self-sabotaging yourself. And when you feel those coming on, go, all right, that's my subconscious mind trying to keep me comfortable. And I tell my clients too, when you're trying to get out of your comfort zone, don't think about it as necessarily being a comfort zone. And when you're trying to get out of your comfort zone and you do something new and it feels uncomfortable, just think of it as feeling different, not uncomfortable. Because if you start going, wow, I feel uncomfortable doing this, I feel uncomfortable getting on a stage and talking to 500 people, then your mind is going to try to make you your subconscious mind is going to try to make you stay comfortable. And you may not get to the point that you want to get to. So just say, well, getting up on a stage is going to feel really different, because that's true. But it's not necessarily going to be uncomfortable. You might get up there and just thrive. You don't really know until you do it. So try not to say those things like uncomfortable. Say different when you're trying to change a behavior. It might feel funny. And this is why these things happen. This is why 95% of all dieters regain all the weight they lost. And 80% of new businesses fail within 5 years. And 40% of marriages of young couples fail within 5 years. Lottery winners, they lose their money within 3 years. And it's because their behaviors they're not changing their behavior. They're not thinking about it. With lottery winners, it's a lot of it is mindset. A lot of this is all mindset, even the weight gain and all of that. But when you look at, say, the lottery winners, because it's an easy one to explain, they don't see themselves as these lottery winners. They don't, when they're living their lives and say they don't have a lot of money and they're living that way, and all of a sudden they get a stockpile of $20 million or whatever it is, they spend it all. They go through it because they're trying to get back to what they think they are. They can't change the perception of themselves as being rich, as having this money and deserving the money and using the money the way that someone who has a lot of money would use it. They just spend it all and they don't worry about it. Because they're actually more comfortable going back to where they were before they had all that money. It's kind of, it's a big mindset thing, and it is subconscious. So with dieters, when they regain the weight, they don't see themselves as that skinny person that they've become. They see themselves still as the person they were, and they get back to that person that they think that they are. And they can't change that mindset. The subconscious just won't, they're not working on that. So these are things to keep in mind as you have like really big breakthrough goals that will change your life. It's not just a behavior, it's also a mindset thing that you're going to have to work on. So think about that as you're setting really big breakthrough goals in your life. So, and here are some of the obstacles you have to think about too. Like I said, your subconscious mind thinks that it's keeping your brain, it's keeping you safe. It's making you fear things like being uncomfortable or doing something new, or let's say you have a habit that makes you, that's an emotional, that you do when you have an emotional trigger. Then it's going to keep wanting you to do the same thing because that's keeping you safe. That's what it's thinking. And then, the limiting beliefs and stories that you tell yourself are also obstacles. Work on those while you're at home. Think about meeting someone new and what is the story that you tell them about yourself. It might be that let me tell you this story. I used to have a client who always told people that the first thing she would say was that she was bipolar, and that her mother was also bipolar, and that's why she's bipolar. And her mother unfortunately committed suicide, and she, has a lot of issues with that, and that because she's bipolar, so a lot of days she just doesn't feel good, and so she doesn't go out and do things. So that was her story that she would tell people. And granted, in working with me, we didn't work together very long because she would cancel appointments a lot and tell me she didn't feel like leaving her house. And instead of working on her mindset and changing her story to where maybe she could have had a much more productive life, she just stuck with it because it was more comfortable. Think about the stories that you say, because the more you say your story, the more it is ingrained in your subconscious. So if you were to change your story and tell yourself your story is your future self instead of how you were 20 years ago or what happened to you 20 years ago, or maybe if you are bipolar, maybe if you took medication, you could become your future self who is, successful and doing the things that you really want to do in life. Instead of staying in that comfort zone just to stay in the comfort zone. Think about what your future story would be and tell that one to people. And practice that while you're home. Just the more you say it out loud, the more it becomes real. So any stories that you might be saying about yourself, I used to always say, oh, I'm terrible at math, I'm terrible at math, I'm terrible at math. Well, I'm really not terrible at math, but that was what I told myself because I didn't apply myself when I was in, elementary and high school. Just didn't like it. And so I just, didn't pay any attention and didn't, got bored. But that was my story. I just was terrible at math. And I'm realizing I'm really not bad at math at all. I just, I told myself that for so many years. I believed it. So, think about the things you're believing, because sometimes they'll hold you back and you don't even realize it. And that will give you a negative mindset on certain things. Every time anything came up math-wise, I didn't want to do it. So negative mindset, think about what's giving you a negative mindset. That's your brain's warning system sometimes saying, oh, this is danger ahead. Well, a math problem comes up and I'm going to do it. That's really not danger. That's just my brain not being used to doing things like that, I guess. But think about what is it that you're doing to hold yourself back. And then your brain will give out neurochemicals as a stress response. And if you try to do anything big, like a breakthrough goal, or even, sometimes it can be something small. Sometimes something small will really stress us out. My stepfather was one of those people who, if it was something big, like something like this, he'd be calm as a cucumber. But one time I remember, I don't know if you remember, there was a chain of grocery stores called IGA, Independent Grocers Association. And I remember I was 16 and I went to the grocery store for him. And on the check that I wrote, out of his checkbook, I wrote Independent Grocery Association. And I went home and I handed him his checkbook back, and I put it in it. I put it in his register at the time, and he said, "What is this?" And I said, "It's the grocery store." He goes, "Well, how am I supposed?" I mean, he just went off because I did not say IGA. I put Independent Grocers Association, like that even mattered. But little things would set him off, and so what happens is, if it's something that really is different or stressed, or you don't understand, or you're confused, your brain actually sends out real neurochemicals. So it's partially not your fault, but if you can take some deep breaths and have a really good response back to your brain, then you can get through it without any problems. And this is a great time to practice breathing during this time. 3 times a day, I would suggest just take a really deep breath, maybe to the count of 4, and then hold it for 2 seconds, and then count of 6, exhale. Try that, maybe 5 times, 3 times a day. So maybe when you wake up in the morning, take a really deep breath in, count to 4, and then hold it for 2, and then a count to 6 out, and do that 5 times, maybe once in the morning, once maybe around lunchtime, and then once before you go to bed. And that just helps you get some of these neurochemicals out of your system, and also toxins and things like that. And it, of course, your body needs oxygen, so it's a win-win in and out. Disempowering habits. You were talking about habits. I'll tell you some really good habits to implement near the end here. So think about what kind of habits are disempowering, bad habits right now that you have. I said earlier that maybe right now you can think about changing because you're not around a lot of the people or situations right now that might cause you to do some of the bad habits. And then, sometimes we have a lack of emotional control. And the only thing we can really do is be aware of that, and then figure out what is your response going to be, because we can't change other people, and sometimes our emotional control or our emotions become out of control because of something that someone else has done. And so when that happens, just think about how your response is going to be. And sometimes it's a repeat situation. So if it's a repeat situation, think about that situation. You've been through it before. Think about what could you have done maybe to change the situation. If there's not anything, then just think about how you can change your response to the situation. And the good thing about repeat situations is you kind of know what's going to happen. This is hopefully not a repeat situation, this quarantine thing. But when you think about other people who might push your buttons, just know it, and then deal with it. Learn to deal with it in a better way so that you aren't becoming uncontrollable emotionally. So when you're going to create a good habit, think about what it is what is the reward going to be for the habit that you want to create? So maybe it's getting up early. The reward will be you'll have more time in your day. Maybe you'll be more focused in the morning. Maybe in the morning, if you're up early, you're up before everyone else and you have more time to yourself, which is even better. And then think about, Think about what is going to trigger your action. What's going to trigger this new habit? What is it that's going to make you do this habit? Sometimes it's good to stack a habit. So if you have a habit that you already do, like say brushing your teeth, and you want to exercise every day, then maybe after you brush your teeth, or maybe before you brush your teeth, you do 5 push-ups. So you're stacking that habit on top of another habit. So your trigger would be the fact that you're going to go brush your teeth, so you know that you're going to do 5 push-ups real quick. Think about triggers that would make you automatically think about this new routine or this new action that you want to take, your new habit. And that is how you can, that helps you create your new habit. And just make sure you're consistent, of course. That's the best way to do that. So if you can stack it onto something else, maybe, when you bring the mail in, you do something, or, whatever it might be, whatever habits you already have in place that you're going to keep, think about where you can implement those habits to be triggers to new routines and habits that you want to incorporate into your routine. So, during this time, pick 3 good habits that you'd like to incorporate. Maybe if you're not getting up early or on time or whatever it is right now, or you're at your normal, maybe you're not going to bed at your normal time, maybe you're eating more than you would like. Whatever it is, think about a habit right now that you would like to incorporate. Maybe it's eating a breakfast. Maybe you don't normally eat breakfast, or maybe it's incorporating vegetables into your lunch. Maybe it is having a shake for breakfast instead of a huge meal. Whatever it is, pick 3 and start working on them, and make this time productive. And then which one of those would have the most impact on your life? Which one would be something that would push you the most in all areas of your life? We call those keystone habits. So maybe it's a habit to do with sleeping. Maybe it's a habit to do with nutrition. Maybe it's a mindfulness habit. Maybe meditation would be a great way to push yourself further in your goals. Visualization techniques are great. Whatever it is, whatever habit you'd like to incorporate into your routine, try to stack it, like I said earlier. And then, of course, be consistent. So what are you letting slip in right now? It might be because the kids are home, you're stopping what you're doing and making lunch. You're getting interrupted many times a day, I'm sure. So maybe instead of working all day from 8 to 5 like you're used to, you do it in spurts. Who knows? Think of how you can change some of the things that are happening to you right now that are making you not productive, because you are still in control of your life and your day. So look at things differently. Look at complicated things as a challenge, and we have a lot of those right now, I'm sure. Think about the benefits, not the tasks that you're going to have to do to get you there, but think about the benefits, because that keeps you focused on the long term and the reward. And then like I said, what's new right now? What new things are happening that are creeping into your day that are really taking you off track? And what can you do about them? And stop obsessing and start completing. This is what happens when we procrastinate. We're so obsessed with having to start, not wanting to do it, everything else, that we don't take action. And that's, again, leaning into it. Do something really small. Maybe it's just scheduling it, something small that's not going to be real scary for you. Set your priorities still. You still have to prioritize everything when you wake up, even though you're at home all day and everything's changed. If you don't prioritize, your day will take control of you. And then reduce your decision fatigue. Right now, we don't really have to worry about, what are we going to put on this morning? And, I ran out of lipstick or whatever it might be, might not be as important right now as it was a few weeks ago. But reduce what decision you're having to make. Maybe you just throw everything in a crock pot in the morning. Maybe you make a menu. Since I've been home, I've actually started making a menu for dinner every night. So when I wake up in the morning, I know what we're eating. Create new systems if you have to, because things are different right now. So if you have to create a new system for something, think about what would make your life easier right now. Maybe have the kids doing stuff and that they don't normally do to help you out. And then only handle it once. I say that for paper. Right now, things are piling up. I've heard people's homes are, we're getting to where, because we're here all the time. It's like if you lived out of your car would be a disaster. Well, now we're literally living out of our homes, and paper's stacking up. Things are happening. We're not putting things away as quickly because we're here. So only handle it once with the mail or any papers that you get or an email or whatever it might be. Look at it, handle it, and be done. And then stay focused. Try to get in the flow. It's harder right now. Set goals again, a production goal for now even. Whatever it is you're trying to do. Do work you enjoy. Hopefully you do enjoy your work. And there are new reasons to say no. Say no to whoever's pulling you in different directions right now and you're not used to it because, you have all this time at home with all these different people right now. The 5-second rule is awesome. And all that is, it's very simple. If there's something that you have to do and you don't want to do it, you count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And when you get to 1, you just do it. You don't even think. It's to get rid of your inhibiting thoughts around something and just to take action. So that's something with Mel Robbins came up with that. And she has a book out called The 5-Second Rule if you're interested in learning more about it. But that's as simple as it gets. Anything you want to do. If you don't want to get up out of bed in the morning, say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and jump out of bed. So Shifting your mindset during this time. Remember, you can only have one thought at a time. Change your story, like I said. Don't care about what other people think. Right now, it's a lot easier, isn't it? Because we don't see a lot of people. Don't let them dictate your emotions. Anyone who pushes your buttons, I've told you how to handle that. And expect your share of failure. We're not going to succeed every single time, but we don't learn if we don't fail. Stop making excuses for any actions that you might have taken that contributed to a bad situation, and just take responsibility. That's one thing we all have to do, is take responsibility of our own lives, of course. Let go of the past and negative stories you've told yourself. Confront your fears. Take control. Get up early. These are routines that successful people do. And these are routines that you should keep doing even during this time. Get up early so that you have time for yourself. Journal and practice gratitude every day. Meditate or visualize your day. Plan your day, whether it's at night that you do it or in the morning. Exercise. Get outside. Get some vitamin D. Do something for someone every day, whether it's just a phone call, whether it's a letter. Maybe you're leaving a note on the, next to your bed, next to your children's bed in the morning, or your spouse's. Do something for someone every day still. And then eat healthy food. And that is the end of my presentation. Like I said, I will send it to whoever sent in email addresses, and you'll get my 21 days to success emails every morning. And I want to thank you, Amanda, for this.
I'm jumping back on. I didn't want to. Yeah. Yes, if anybody does have any questions, feel free to put them in there. I can connect everybody with Kim easily right now, as we're, of course, all at home. But thank you again so much for going over this presentation. And we do have a lot of other webinars coming on. Hopefully, if you are with us on Zoom, Zoom is a great way to connect with us, because as you can see, sometimes our Facebook does not work due to so many people taking advantage of this great platform. But we do have a really fun event coming up at 2 o'clock today called Tone Up at 2. So if you're interested in getting a little active in your house just for 20 minutes, we're going to be streaming that both on our Zoom channel, and you can get the link for that through our website, myrtlebeachareyachamber.com, or hopefully it'll be on our actual Facebook page as well. So Kim, if there's anything else you have to add, please let me know. But if not, we'll see you next time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Of course, thank you so much. Everyone have a great day.
Yeah, you too.